Okay, let's move on.
Okay. Okay, so do you have anything else? The last thing I have to talk about is comic books.
Yeah, and that's the last thing I have too.
You have something I'm interested in hearing what you have to say about comic books.
Okay. Am I going first?
Yeah, I'm at the edge
Okay.
of my seat. I can't wait to hear this.
Okay. So I think it's probably already been released by now, but when I read about it, it hadn't been released. So there's, I guess, this comic book series called The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen by Alan Moore.
Yeah.
And so in the latest installment of the Century 2009 version, I don't really understand how that works, but whatever. It's the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen Century 2009. There's an Antichrist character that apparently has similarities to Harry Potter.
Oh,
I don't really know how much the character visually resembles Harry Potter, but there's
does he have that scar though? If he has that scar, there's no argument.
there's apparently a mention of him having a hidden scar, and there's
Oh.
also a mention of a magical train between platforms at King Cross Station that goes to a magical school, which is just like in the Harry Potter novels.
Yeah.
And the Antichrist character has a mentor called Riddle, and in the Harry Potter novels, Voldemort's birth name was Tom Riddle, but Voldemort was Harry's enemy, not his mentor, so that's a bit different. But
I mean, already I could say, yeah, it's totally him.
according to this newspaper called The Independent, there are also characters that have a resemblance to Ron Weasley and Hermione Granger, and there's a part in the story where the Harry Potter slash Antichrist character kills someone by shooting a lightning bolt from his quote flaccid penis.
Oh, awesome.
So, and there was this reviewer who had an advanced copy of the comic, and she said that the Antichrist character is quote a commentary on a perceived degeneration of society both in our world and in the fictional. And she says this because like publishing companies aren't taking as many risks these days, so originality is dwindling. And meanwhile, other franchises and celebrity biographies are relentlessly pushed upon us. So the
That's
reviewer
good commentary. Yeah, that's
also made a note that the comic series is a satire and that Alan Moore has like respect for all the characters he uses or hints at. But yeah.
yeah, I mean, especially because it's Alan Moore. I can totally see that that would be the intention behind it. And now I'm going to have to buy it. Great.
If you buy it, like take some pictures. I'm curious to see how much these characters actually look like.
Oh,
Harry Potter.
There's already pictures on the internet. We could find it right now.
If it's come out yet, I mean I read this back in June. I'm sure it's probably come out by now, but I don't know.
Jeez, now I wish I would have followed that comic. Now I gotta go and read it. Jeez, thanks a lot. Like I don't buy enough comics. God. Okay, so the big news right now. Last year it was. I don't know if you remember this. The big DC New 52. Do you remember that?
I remember. I think you mentioning it.
Okay, so the DC New 52 was them rebooting the whole universe. Everything was going to start from
Why
the
52?
beginning because it was going to be 52 titles.
Okay.
That they were going to be doing.
Okay.
And it pissed everybody off. No one really likes what they did. The only thing that came out of it that I really like is the new Batwoman title. There's never been an official Batwoman, and with the New 52 they launched a Batwoman title, and she's a lesbian. She doesn't have like a ambivalence about it. It comes out, she's like, "Hey, what's up? I'm Batwoman. I'm a lesbian. Let's kick some ass." And
is there ever like a hint at that in the original comics that they're acknowledging now, or is that just something they decided?
She was never in the original comics. There was, Barbara Gordon.
Wait, did her character exist, or did they just make her?
She's brand new to the New 52.
Oh, okay.
So that was fantastic. I mean, when everybody complains about the New 52, they kind of don't mention that, you know, how great that is. But I think it needs to be mentioned. Yeah, the New 52 sucks. Absolutely, it sucks. But that is a great title that came out of it. So you got to give them that. So the problem with it was they rebooted the whole universe because, you know, kids are now getting into comics, new fans are getting into comics, and, you know, you start reading Batman and you get kind of...
Kids have always been getting into comics with every new generation. What makes this one special?
Because they wanted to sell more comics. They thought with the new movies coming out, we'll start everything from the beginning so everybody can now understand the stories. And it was a big clusterfuck. So it was...
Why don't they just re-release the old ones from the beginning.
They do that too, and they put them in collections, but I mean, you can't go to the store and find an ultimate collection. You
Why
just
not?
find a new issue, because that's just the way they do things. You have to buy it off the internet.
Make it convenient for people.
DC has no intention of making things convenient. They never have, and they never will. So the whole thing was a clusterfuck. It's pissed everybody off. They're trying to correct themselves slowly now, but it's a big clusterfuck. So last month, Marvel released that they were going to be doing a Marvel Now, and that's a capital NOW. It doesn't stand for anything. It's just supposed to be shocking. Marvel Now. It's going to start in a couple months, I think, and it's them rebooting the universes too. And everybody freaked the fuck out and said, "Why are you doing this? You saw how bad it was with DC. Why would you do this?" And then, okay, well, no, that's not what we're doing. We're not rebooting the whole universe. The titles that we have now are going to continue, but we're going to kind of change things up, and every week we're going to release a new series of a series that's been canceled. So what they're going to do is bring back old characters who have been canceled and we haven't seen in a long time.
Mm-hmm.
That's good. But people are upset because of the new changes they're going to make with the continuity of Marvel's current universe, the 616, which is too difficult to get into, so I'm not going to explain that. The main Marvel universe. Because right now we have a summer event where the Avengers are fighting the X-Men in this worldwide war. And so apparently what's going to come out of it is we're going to have the Uncanny Avengers, where the X-Men and Avengers team up, and there's mixed feelings about that, but that should be exciting. People should feel excited about that.
Why are the Avengers fighting the X-Men? Shouldn't they kind of be on the same side, or is that too much to get into?
Well, the X-Men in the Marvel Universe, X-Men are, these mutants that are kind of not, that society has mixed feelings about because, they're weird, they're mutations, they have powers, are they going to kill us?
But they should feel the same way about superheroes then, because,
it's different, because the Avengers are a group of people that work as kind of like high-powered police officers. That's what they do. When there's like a big event, worldwide event, or there's aliens, the Avengers are the police officers that go out and take care of stuff. So it's like a mixture of people. I mean, like, Captain America is in it, and you have Iron Man in it. And
yeah. But like, if you're a mutant and you're good and you want to do good, then shouldn't the Avengers sort of see you as like an ally? I mean,
well, there are X-Men in Avengers, which lead to some of the drama.
Okay.
But the thing with it is that there's this, I don't know how to go into much detail. I mean, I think it's pretty common knowledge that Jean in the X-Men, she got the Phoenix, and it was this destructive power from outer space, and it was like an apocalyptic power, and on and on and on. Well, it was this long thing. It was back in the early 90s when they were doing that, I think.
Okay.
So the Phoenix is gone. Well, now they realize the Phoenix is coming back, and it's going to be inhabited in an X-Men. So the Avengers say, well, we can't have that. It's wrong. It's going to destroy the Earth, so we're going to go after that girl, make sure by any means possible that she doesn't get the Phoenix within inside her. And the X-Men are saying, no, our numbers are dwindled because of, God, this is so confusing, comic books. Because one of the Avengers, she has this power where she can control reality, and she said no more mutants, and it killed off more than half the mutant population. So now they're kind of living on an island by themselves, and they have a few schools off on the West Coast, and there's very few left. So the mutants are saying, there's hardly any of us left. Maybe with the power of the Phoenix, we can resurrect our people, and you want to take one of our people away because of something she might do and kill her. So they're fighting.
Okay.
So that's what it's about. And I won't get into that the Phoenix is now here in Cyclops and what's going on with that. And they just released in Comic-Con that, it's happening right now. A couple hours ago, I read that they might kill Cyclops. So hopefully nobody likes him. Everybody wants him to die. So hopefully. So the second thing about this reboot, which everyone's most excited about, is they're going to do a series called All New X-Men, I think it's called. And it's about the 1960s original X-Men traveling through time and coming into our universe.
So like the people from First Class?
But they kind of didn't use the real characters that were in there. So, I mean, say Cyclops doesn't die at the end of this Avengers versus X-Men, his past self is going to be coming back. So there's going to be two of the same guy within the universe.
Wait, Cyclops was around in the 60s and he's still around now? How old is he?
It kind of works on like soap opera time.
Okay.
Where there's no real like.
No, it's not. It's Simpsons time. Or South Park time. Yeah. South Park time and Simpsons time. Nobody ever grows up. Nobody ever ages.
Except for the kids. The kids, it's like soap opera time. If somebody has a kid, their kid will age. And they'll age, like within a month, they'll go from an infant to 10 years old. And then they'll be 16 for like a couple years.
They get Saurus.
Then they'll be adults.
Soap opera rapid aging syndrome. They get Saurus.
Yes, exactly. That's what it is. So the people that are coming back are Cyclops, who might be the only Cyclops in this universe because he might die. Iceman, I think is dead now too. Beast is still alive. Angel is alive, but he doesn't have any of his memories. And Marvel Girl, who is Jean Grey. So Jean Grey is finally going to be back in the series alive because she died a long time ago. So I think what they might do is finally make it so Jean Grey and Wolverine finally get together in this universe. So who knows? That's the exciting Marvel now. But the big news that kind of doesn't apply to Marvel now, even though he's going to be within the universe, is Deadpool. Deadpool's writer Daniel Way has been on for like over 50 issues, and he's kind of the reason Deadpool's become one of their major players, but he's also kind of really pissed fans off with his new Dead series, because Deadpool has like this disfiguring skin and he can't die, and you know, I mean, that's just, it's Deadpool. It's just Deadpool, and they took all that away from Deadpool, so now Deadpool isn't really Deadpool anymore, and people hate
it. So he doesn't have the scars and he's mortal?
Exactly. He just got cured.
How did they just like, is there a reason it was taken away, or did he just wake up one day and he's like, oh, I'm normal again?
If they had done that, it would make more sense. The official reason they did it was because they said, oh, well, people can't really relate to Deadpool because he can never die and it's not really exciting when he gets in danger. So they decided to do the story where some scientist decides to turn him human. So they find his baby book where they get his original DNA because he becomes disfigured in a Weapon X program.
How did they get his DNA from a baby?
Well, because his hair, because because they can take a clipping of the baby's hair, because apparently he was born with lots of hair. He was.
Do they do that? Do parents do that? Take a clipping of their child's hair and stick it in a baby book?
I guess. Oh, like first haircut, I guess. Yeah.
My parents didn't do that.
Yeah, well, mine didn't either. They didn't even keep a baby book. No one gives a shit about us.
Yeah, this is okay. My parents, right? They had a photo album of all my older sister's baby pictures, and then they had a identical looking photo album that was supposed to be my baby pictures, but there were no pictures. Pictures are all just like randomly scattered among all the other pictures they have. Like they didn't never get around to it.
That's a good point. That's something else I thought of I wasn't going to mention. But I mean, okay, the thing with Deadpool is he came from like a really abusive home where there's a lot of domestic violence and alcoholism and just abandonment. And his mom wasn't the type of woman to keep a baby book, and it was this adorable little baby book that was put away, and they found it in some.
Did he have grandparents? Maybe it was his grandparents.
You never find out about his extended family, but you assume he has them because he kind of just gets abandoned when he is a teenager and no one takes responsibility for him. So it doesn't make any sense that there would be a baby book. It just doesn't make any sense. But then, they make this serum of his original DNA because, he's been modified in the Weapon X program, which is what Wolverine went through to get, his shit. And he becomes disfigured because of it, and he regenerates because of it, and becomes immortal. So they make this injection, and he wants it because he wants to die. He desperately wants to die. He has a horrible life. It's been shitty for him his whole life, and he doesn't like being disfigured, and no one loves him, and he's kind of fucked up in the head, and he's just ready to die. So he decides he wants the serum, and they go through this whole thing. He eventually gets injected with the serum. He becomes normal looking. He loses his abilities, and then all of a sudden he decides, okay, I want to go out in a grandiose way. I want my friends, quote unquote friends, to kill me.
Okay.
So then they kind of just because then he dies, and then what? It's one of your biggest characters. You can't just kill him. So
Yeah.
they kind of do this thing where he realizes, oh, I have stuff to live for now. He really doesn't, other than his good-looking face, which he doesn't seem to care that much about anymore. And the fact that a friend of his won't have anybody to look out for him and might get murdered if he, dies. So it's like, okay, well,
Yeah.
I'll try to live and I'll protect you. And that's the end of that story arc. So then they start the next one where it's, okay, here's Deadpool with a normal face and trying to figure out how to be a mercenary and a killer without his special abilities. And the guy he's supposed to be taking care of, Bob, just isn't around anymore. It's like, well, he was your reason for living, right? Your reason to live was to stick around to make sure he didn't die. And you just ditch him, at like a bus stop somewhere? It doesn't make any sense. The whole thing doesn't make any sense. It's pissed everybody off. And Daniel Way is to blame for it. Well, he's now leaving. No one's really saying why. He's just doing that kind of, stereotypical, I just had a great run. I love you guys kind of thing. He's going out on issue number 63. And I've heard that that's issue 63, 50 to 63 is going to be what they release the compilation book as. Which is weird because they usually only do like 4 to 6 issues in a compilation book. So I'm thinking that maybe at issue 63, his cure is going to wear off or there's going to be something that happens.
Yeah.
Because they made it quite clear that this cure, there was only one. They used up all the DNA. There's no more DNA.
Oh, yeah. They're definitely setting that up for
So
something.
I'm thinking that's what happened. So hopefully soon.
I can just imagine though if this was being done by some, I don't know what you call it, a media company that has a reputation for giving like moral lessons, they would make him worse than he was before just to say like be happy with what you have kind of thing,
If Deadpool became happy with what he had, he again would not be Deadpool anymore. He can't be happy. He has to be sad and he has to make you sad. He has to be super funny because he's super funny, but he also has to make you cry or he hasn't done his job. So yeah, I think that's what's going to happen. So I'm holding out hope, but I don't know. But it also kind of seems weird that they're going to be doing a Deadpool movie with Ryan Reynolds, and it's coming out. It's starting to film this year, they said.
So
wait. It's going to come out in 2014. Ryan Reynolds is a really good-looking guy, and then when they revealed Deadpool's new face, he looks surprisingly like Ryan Reynolds. Yeah.
When he was in the
Wolverine, yeah, good point.
When he was in the Wolverine movie as Deadpool, like did he already look disfigured in that?
No.
Or
in the Deadpool movie he's not Deadpool yet. That's before he goes to the Weapon X program.
Because you said he was in the Wolverine movie, right? Like, was he already Deadpool in the Wolverine movie, or
no? He's Wade Wilson in the movie. Now at the end of the Wolverine movie you see this scarred guy who Wolverine identifies as Wade Wilson. But, and this is, hard to really say. People are saying, because they're definitely not going to stick with that in Deadpool's movie because people hated it and it didn't stick to continuity. But there is another character in the comics called Agent X who is scarred as well and kind of looks like how they depicted the guy at the end of Wolverine's movie.
Okay.
So people are saying that was supposed to be Weapon X, and he takes on a lot of Deadpool's abilities, so that's how they're going to justify that.
Okay.
And that's all I got.
Okay, so Squee and WTF.
Okay, so my Squee happened yesterday at Comic-Con.
Wait, that doesn't count for June?
No, it counts stuff that happened since the last podcast.
Okay. Well, if that's the case, then I had other TV stuff I could have talked about, but go ahead.
Okay, so, since we're talking about Deadpool, they announced yesterday there's going to be a Deadpool video game. That's amazing!
You put like a trailer of it up on your Facebook, and I tried to watch it, but it said the video was private.
Yeah, well, they were having a bunch of problems yesterday, because when they had a countdown website, and then as soon as the countdown ended, everybody went on it, and it crashed, so nobody got to see it. And then they had a video, and it got removed, and then they had to put up a different video, and so it was just this big confusing thing. And on Deadpool's official Twitter, which isn't that amazing that you can grow up to be a role player, you can get paid to
I know, that's
I love it. He was like, it was a premature URL ejaculation problem. So that's all they said about it. So yeah, they did have a video.
The video is still private. Like, I tried to watch it earlier this morning. It's still
I'll get
private.
you a good one. You can go on deadpoolgame.com for everybody, and they'll show the video there. So it looks like it's just going to be like a, big run around, shoot a bunch of stuff. But, that's what Deadpool does, so it's going to be super fun, and he's going to say super funny things, and it'd be cute.
Okay. Well, I guess if we're talking about, if we can cover things that happened in the first half of July, I don't know if it's necessarily a squeeze so much as it is like an, oh my gosh, this is really good.
Yeah.
So I've talked about this soap before, Hollyoaks.
Yeah.
They have this storyline going on right now where one of the characters was killed, and it was like, came out of nowhere. And so they're trying to figure out who killed her, and I believe it was last year, or it might have been early this year, they had a storyline with a serial killer named Silas, and that storyline was so good. Oh my god, that storyline was really good. But they're thinking now that, like, maybe he has a copycat killer or something, and there's all these people that are acting really suspicious, and it's like, well, maybe it's her, or maybe it's him, and there are all these people with, like, motives to have killed this character, and opportunities to have killed this character, and it's just, like, so suspenseful, and, oh, I just want to know who killed her.
Well, I think that's the point of the show. They want you to be into it.
And it really feels like, because for a while, like, a lot of the storylines were sort of secluded, like, they weren't really connected, but with this storyline, it's connected a bunch of the different characters that had previously been off on their own storylines, and so it's really sort of, like, homogenized a lot of the storylines, and it's just really good right now. So, I'm excited. I want to know who killed her.
Well, you saying that reminds me, did you hear that they're going to be playing Misfits on Logo TV?
I did. But they're gonna have to edit so much of that, because even though Logo's like cable,
yeah,
they're not like premium cable, so there's still a lot of stuff they're not gonna show, a lot of words they're not gonna let them say. I never understood that. Like, cable channels they're paid channels for the most part. Like, they should be able to get away with stuff that network TV can't. And sometimes they do, but a lot of times, like, there are certain cuss words they won't let them say. They can't have certain things depicted. Or if they do, they've got to do it, like, super late at night, like at 1 a.m. or something. Like, Comedy Central sometimes will show, like, stand-up routines completely uncensored.
Yeah.
But they have to do it at, like, 1 a.m. or something. And I never understood that. It's like, it's cable. Why can you not do that on cable? It's not network TV, but
well, you have HBO and Sundance though that do stuff.
Those are premium cable channels, though.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know, but I mean, I've already seen the entire series. I probably won't rewatch it just for the simple fact I won't rewatch it on TV just for the simple fact that I know there's stuff that they're gonna edit out and bleep out, blur out, cut out, whatever, and it kind of ruins the experience.
Yeah, that's true. Good point.
But like I said, I mean, it's a cable channel. I don't understand why they couldn't just show it in its regular entirety.
I think it's probably because, like, TV, like, cable TV is just TV now.
Yeah.
Because it used to be back in the day that cable used to be the thing that some people had, and they could go a little further. Now it's just everybody has cable.
Oh, that reminds me! We've totally got off track of our squeeze. But there's a TV show premiering tonight on USA Network called Political Animals that I'm looking forward to seeing. Like, from the previews, it looks really good. And I'm not typically into, like, political dramas, but there's also a lot of, like, family drama in it.
So is it a TV drama?
It's a TV show.
Okay.
They keep saying it's a limited run series, which means I think it's only like 6 episodes until they see how it does.
Yeah.
And then it could potentially get a full season. But like, it's starring Sigourney Weaver, and she plays the former first lady, and I don't know the name of the guy who was her husband, but it seems like it's almost loosely inspired by Hillary Clinton.
Oh.
Because her husband, who was the president, apparently there was a big news story that he had affairs the entire time he was in the White House, and now they're divorced, and obviously he's not the president anymore, and she's like the Secretary of State. But the big difference between the somewhat following of the Clinton story is, like, instead of having a daughter, they have 2 sons, played by James Wolk and Sebastian Stan. James Walk's character is like the sort of upstanding guy. He's got his stuff together. And then Sebastian Stan's character is sort of like this recovering addict who lives like a party life and he's gay and like
Okay, well, unless those two guys are really good looking and they make out, I'm not gonna watch that show.
Well, they're brothers. They're not gonna make out.
I don't give a shit anymore. I just want to see two hot dudes make out.
Well, there was a trailer where I guess like Sebastian Stan's character had a grinder hookup. So like some random dude shows up at his apartment. He's like, "Hey, you didn't put a face picture up. Oh my gosh, you're the former son of the president."
I wouldn't know if I was just hooking up with some random guy or girl. Who could it be? Who should I know? It was RuPaul, all in drag. And they were playing the RuPaul's Drag Race theme, I'd be like, all right, cool, get your nickels off, let's do this.
Something I read, like, when it was announced that Sebastian Stan's character was going to be gay, I read this line, it was so funny. Like, Sebastian Stan previously was in a series that didn't do very well among viewership. Like, there are a lot of people who really like the show. I really liked the show, but it didn't really get a lot of viewers. It was on NC, it's called Kings. Do you remember hearing anything about that?
Yeah.
So on Kings, he played a gay prince, right? And then on this, he's playing a gay son of the former president. So I read this quote, it was like, wow, is gay son of president like just really specific typecasting for Sebastian Stan now? It's like,
that's not a bad typecast.
Yeah, the characters are pretty like similar. So
yeah. Okay, you have a what the fuck?
I'm gonna have to go with the Brave thing and the whole thing of like, oh, she's not a girly girl, so obviously she's a lesbian. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, okay, well that's not a bad one. This, mine is the fact that they're going to definitely, because now, I think it was today, the title card got released for the Ant-Man movie.
Okay.
The fact that they're making an Ant-Man movie just kind of leaves me a little perplexed. I'm excited, but also I'm definitely what the TFing.
What? I mean, I've heard of Ant-Man, but what exactly does he do?
First of all, he has a funny little helmet that will not translate into movies. No one will take him seriously with a weird little helmet that he has on. But second of all, he can shrink.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, he grows and he shrinks to the size of an ant.
Yeah.
And he has extra strength because ants have extra strength. And also he can talk to ants. I mean, there might be more to him. I don't know. I've never read Ant-Man because I do not give a shit. People are like,
I'm sorry.
But when the Avengers movie came out, people were like, oh, Spider-Man should be in it, but he can't because, other people own the rights to him. But then they were like, well, what about Ant-Man? Ant-Man definitely has to be in it. And people were like, no, we can't put Ant-Man. Ant-Man's stupid. And then it got so much talk that they're just going to give him his own movie now.
I just got this image in my head of, Adam Ant from the 80s? Yeah. Adam Ant-Man.
That would be... I would watch that movie.
That would be so funny. Okay.
Okay. So on that ridiculous note, goodbye, everybody. Go home, talk to your aunts.
Bye.